Yep. So I've started recording. So you are already familiar with a couple of types of chess puzzles like endgame studies and the mate in X or tactical puzzles, either mate or tactics. Now this is another type of puzzle, and this is specifically there to develop your visualization skill. So let us see what is a chess maze. Okay. So essentially in a chess maze, see, first thing is that the pieces are the same. Rules of chess are the same. Only thing is that who moves, there is a difference. Check and checkmate are the same. But there is one big difference. In normal chess puzzles or in chess, both white and black will alternate taking moves, right? First you will move, then the other side will move. In chess mazes, this type of puzzle, specifically, there is only one side moves, okay? And by convention, because these are all artificial things, you always make white side move, okay? Black side does not move at all, except in exceptions. I will tell what is the thing. So normally always the white side is the one which is to make a move. The objective is different. Okay, objective is different, and I will show examples so that you will understand it. Okay. Now, what is the thing? So what are the things you already know? Chess pieces, how they move. What is the rule of check and checkmate? You already know. Chess notation also you know, right? So what? Let us look at the rules of the chess maze. And they are the same for rook, knight, and bishop. Okay, when it comes to queen, king, and pawn mazes, it's slightly different, but we'll look at it not now. Maybe we'll look at it 1 month down the line. Okay, so first we are going to concentrate on the mazes are classified into bishop mazes, rook mazes, knight mazes, depending on, or king, pawn, and queen, depending on which side moves or which piece moves, not which side. Okay, so first rule number 1, you are always white. And your maze piece is, if it is a bishop maze, then it is always the bishop. Okay. Okay. And you have to move that bishop around the board every time. It is like step of moves. First step you do here, second step you go there, but only you move. The other side does not move. Okay. Except for rule number 4, which I will come. So rule number 1, you are given the piece and the move, and you have to keep moving that with the target enter. What is the target? That comes in rule number 2. Black gets a king and some pieces. He will have some pieces, some pawns, and king. Okay, the number might vary, position might vary. However, none of the black pieces, king included, is allowed to move. So black is not moving, except for rule number 4, which we'll come to know. So black is just passive. He gets to observe the white bishop as it moves around. Okay, what is rule number 3? The game ends when the bishop places the black king in check. You have to give the check. That's all is the objective. Okay, but it is not as easy as that, I will tell you. So so we'll see that example and we'll understand it, or the series of examples. Okay, so it ends when the enemy king is in danger. Okay, without you being in danger, obviously, just like simply without any support, if you go in the chess and give queen to f7 check, king will kill the queen, right? Obviously, in normal chess. Similarly, here also you have to give the check, but you should not be, king should not be able to kill you. So which means that you have to give not a proximity check, you have to give it from a distance, right? Otherwise, the king will simply kill you. Okay. Now, why is the king going to kill you? That is what comes in rule number 4. While we say that black will never move anything, okay, that is as long as you make a move which will not put your piece under the attack by the black's piece. Okay, if you make any move anytime during this course, if you make a move which will put your piece under attack by the black thing, then immediately black will kill it and you have lost the puzzle, right? So that is why the aim is, while you are given the choice of moving anything any number of times, the aim is that you should never let your piece be attacked by the opponent in any position at any stage in the game. Okay, we will see this how it is.
Does white have other pieces except the bishop?
Typically, they're not. There will be only one. Sometimes there may be, but typically there will be only one. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. What did we do? I came now.
I will explain it. I will show it, and that time we will understand it. Okay, and we'll see it on the chessboard. What is the rule number 5? Rule number 5 is, see, there might be more than one solutions, but you have to find the shortest solution. Just as we say, if mate in 1 is possible, you give a mate in 2. Obviously, that is not a correct solution, right? Because if mate in 1 was possible, you should give mate in 1. Similarly, here also, finally you have to give a safe check to the black king, and you have to give it in the minimum number of moves. Okay. If there are two different ways in which you can still give in minimum number of moves, those both solutions are valid. Okay. But if one way is like giving in 3 moves and another one is in 4 moves, then obviously only one is correct, which is the lesser, right? So you have to find, mostly there is only one solution, which is the shortest. Sometimes there are two, but always with the same number of moves, minimum number of. That is what you have to find. Okay. So now we will see this. We see all these rules might appear to be very what do you call? Appear to be very boring. So let us see this, and then we will see what is. Okay. So first position, very simple. There is a white king, black king on h8. White king is on h6. Okay. Now apply the rules. You have to give a check to the king without your bishop being in danger. So obviously bishop to g7 is wrong, because if you do bishop to g7, king will simply capture it, right? Rule number 4. So you have to give a check to the king. Now there are many ways you can give the check to the king in this particular problem. You can come to g5 and then go to f6. You can come to f4, then go to e5. You can come to e3, then go to d4. You can come to d2, then go to c3, or you can come to c1 and then go to b2. All 5 of them, actually in this problem, there will be 5 solutions, right? All of them are equally correct because you are giving them in 2 moves only, all of them, right? So which is right, but that is the reason why obviously bishop to g7 is wrong. And then what we say is, yeah, all these 5 solutions are there. So, but this is just to let you know how the rules work. Bishop to g7, obviously you cannot do. Everything else you can do it. In this particular problem, there are 5 solutions. Okay. But typically when I give you the problems, it will have only one solution. Okay. Understood so far?
Yes, sir.
Example?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now we will see more. So we'll see many examples. Okay. Now number 2, very interesting. Look at it. Number 2. Only thing that we have added is there is a knight on f3.
Bishop
The
c1.
same position. Now, how many solutions are there? Let us see. You think about it. Now you know the rules. How many solutions?
Sir, 2.
1.
4 is there. Sir, 2.
I think I would like you to type them into the chat, because otherwise it will become a lot of people, right? And we are all thing combined. So like more than 15, 16 people are there. So please type it. See, there is only one solution, I will tell you. Okay, so don't be. I think many of you have got it. Which one? Okay, one solution. Okay, but which is the move? Some of you have written it.
Bishop c1.
Yeah, bishop c1 followed by b2.
Bishop c1 followed by bishop to b2 is the only solution. Because if you go to g5, knight will capture it. If you go to d2, knight will capture it. If you go to e3 or f4, knight will not capture it. But when you give a check from either e5 or from d4, that time knight will capture it. Right? So you cannot allow it to capture any time. So the only one solution. The moment, see, the previous position was actually not a puzzle. It was just told to, and for you to understand. But this is a normal, this is like a simple chess maze puzzle, real world chess maze puzzle. Okay. So there is only one solution, you have to find it. And that is bishop to c1 and then b2. Okay. Still we are dealing with very simple puzzles. Okay. This is not, I'm just trying to get you into it so that you know how it is, because really the things will become complicated, and that is where your learning will come. Right. Okay. So I think we have seen the number 2a. So that is that. Okay. Now let us look at number 3. Position number 3. Very interesting. There are 2 rooks and a pawn in the same position. Okay. Now you have to think.
Bishop c1.
Wait. Don't speak. Try to type your entire solution in the chat, and don't try to jump. Okay. Because you might make some error. So think. This is now, you should never allow. So, and don't give only the first move. You have to give the entire sequence. So take your time. Think for 2 minutes.
You can take black pieces in the.
Yes, you can take black pieces as long as you are not attacked by the black pieces. The moment you make a move which will attack, your piece is attacked by the black pieces, immediately they will capture it. So that's why you can't proceed. So take your time. Let me see who is there putting it on the chat. I guess. Not just the first move. Okay. So if you say bishop to g5 or bishop to c1, see bishop to g5, the black pawn itself will capture. Black is coming down the board. Remember, Krish, look at the square numbers and the coordinates. The black pawn on f6 is on f6. So that means it is attacking g5. So you cannot put bishop on g5, right? And second is, even if you were to put it and then kill the pawn, the rook will kill it. So you can't do that. Rook on f2 will kill it. So you can't do that. Bishop on c1. Okay, you can get the bishop on c1, but what next? So let me
type the solution.
Okay, someone has typed it. Oh, but Madhura, bishop f8, bishop e7, bishop takes f6, rook will take on f6. So you have to give a check, but safely. Your bishop is going to get killed, and that is not the solution. Okay, I see someone else, bishop e3, bishop b6, bishop d8, bishop f6. But Atharv, again, the rook will kill the bishop, so that is not the case. Anup is saying bishop e3, bishop takes f2. Good.
I have taken my answer.
Good. Then bishop h4 and bishop f6. Yeah, that looks like the solution. No, bishop h4, the rook will kill it. Anup, the rook will kill it if the bishop goes to h4. Right? Bishop e3,
So,
bishop takes f2. Good, but you have to go to, probably you have to go to, I don't know, bishop to b6 after that.
Sir,
Yeah.
what about e3?
Yeah, okay, let us look at it. Bishop e3, bishop takes f2. So far, so good. Then bishop b6. Yeah. Then bishop to d8. Yeah. And then bishop takes f6. Yeah, that looks like a right solution. Right. First, see, you can't see finally to give the check. So that is actually you can approach the problem in the reverse way. Okay, there are two ways you can approach the problem, either in the forward way or the reverse way. The reverse way says that finally you have to give the check to the king. You can't give the check from g7 because the king will kill it. Where else can you give the check? The moment you kill the pawn on f6, you will give the check to the king. So that is the last move, right? But if you directly kill the pawn on f6 somehow, then the rook is defending the pawn on f6. So first you have to eliminate the f2 rook. So how do you eliminate the f2 rook? First by coming to e3, then take the f2 rook, then you go after the f6 pawn, but not via bishop h4 because the rook will kill it. Rook on c4 will kill the bishop, right? So you have to go to then, what is the way then after that? So you have to go to b6, then d8, and then f6. Then you kill the pawn. Now there is no defender for the pawn, right? So that is the right solution. Okay. So I hope you are getting the hang of it, how it works, right? It will become way more interesting. It will become way more interesting as we go. Yeah, this is the final position. As we saw, bishop e3, followed by bishop takes f2, followed by bishop b6, followed by bishop to d8, and then finally is bishop takes f6, right? That is the solution. Fine. So, so we have discussed this forward way and reverse way. Fine. Now, okay. Now, what is the application to real chess? Why this is important, right? There are two reasons. First of all, doing this exercise for a long thing, because, and you have to do this exercise. How you have to do this? Just by looking at the chessboard. Okay. Either you can look at the screen, or you can set up the position, but you are not supposed to move the pieces. Remember, okay, then it becomes very easy. You're not supposed to actually move the pieces on the board. You are only supposed to look at the board, just like in a chess game, right? When you are playing a tournament game, let us say final of a prize tournament, obviously you are not allowed to take any help or something. Whatever you have to think about, oh, what I will do 3 moves hence, I will do this, Srushti will do this, I will do this, Srushti will do that, and then finally I will do this. So I have to think it in the mind, right? Just like that here, you have to think it. If you are not comfortable looking at the screen, then you can actually set up a physical board. That is okay. But once set up, don't move any pieces till you write down your final solution, and then you only check whether it is correct or not. For that checking, you can always move the pieces and check whether your piece is getting killed anywhere in between. Okay, that is the way to use this thing. Okay, now let us see why this is important, not just for the visualization and what indirect benefit, but there are also many direct benefits. Okay, for example, this thing about you cannot make a move which will put your piece in attack by opponent's piece. This is so important that most of the times when you make some calculations, that time the calculation, where does it go wrong? Not in the first move or the second move, but in the third, fourth, fifth move when you are trying to calculate, sometime it will go wrong, because you will think that, oh, I'm going to put my bishop here and then give a check here and then mate, but then, oh, I missed it, that guy has a knight there which is attacking that square, and hence my fifth move calculation was wrong, and then entire thing is wrong, right? So this happens. So that is why actually having this thing, having this training, so that you are trained not to put a piece n prize, as we call it. N prize means under attack, right, by the opponent's piece, ever. Okay, this training will help you. All right, so that is one another direct thing, but there are also indirect, there are other direct ways in which it will help. Okay, for example, I think number 4, you know this, that when you have a, let us say queen is on there on the board, and you have, suppose you have got only 5 seconds to checkmate. Okay, happens many times, time is running out, you have to give a checkmate, queen is there. Now you don't have the time to aram se make mistakes and give a lot of checks here and there and things. So what is the fastest way to checkmate from here? If white to move here, what is the fastest way to checkmate? What is the first move that we should make with the queen?
Queen to f7 and then get the king in.
Queen to f7,
Queen to
there is a
b5.
better move than that. There is a queen to
Queen to
b5
b5.
is better. Because queen to b5, you are already, there are only 2 squares for the black king, which is a7 and a8. That's it. He has to only shuttle between the two. And then you get all your king to get back. So while f7 is also okay, but it is just that it might take some more things. So queen to b5 might be slightly better. So think about it, right? And don't give the stalemate, right? Very important. So that is, yeah, queen, not d5. I think not d5, Krish. Queen to b5. Okay, queen to b5 is the correct thing. Okay. All right. So let us look at, I think number 4a, we have seen it. This. Okay, fine. Now, okay, 4b, fine. Okay. Number 5, let us look at it. Okay, let us look at this position. First of all, look at this position number 5 and see what is your evaluation? White to play.
White is winning. He has the opposition.
And how is he winning?
Because after bishop f4,
Bishop f4. There is no king. There is no bishop.
the king f4.
Okay. King f4, king g7.
King e5.
King e5. King f8.
King f5.
King f7, king g8. Sorry, king f6, king g8.
King g. King e6.
King e6.
e7.
King e6, then king g7. Sorry, yeah, king e6 or e7, then king g7.
Then king e7.
Again, king f8, king g8, sorry.
Sir, I think white should go on to the other side.
That's it. You can't win this on the king side. Though it tempting as they looks, there is a connected passed pawn, protected passed pawn on the 6th rank, but you cannot win this on the king side.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sir, the protected is if the pawn moves one step forward, the king can kill it.
Yeah, but you will not move it forward. That mistake you will not make it. Okay, let me put this on the board so that, okay, let us put this on the board, clear board. There is a black pawn on h6, I believe, and there is a white pawn on this. There is a black pawn on
Yeah.
A4, right? Sorry, A5, right? And black
Yes,
pawn,
sir.
white pawn on A4. Black king is on F6
Yes, sir.
and white king is on F2.
Yep, sir.
Yeah, white. Okay, and we will do this analysis board. Okay, white to play. Okay, look at this. See, it is very clear that you can't win this on the king side, but you know that very easily you can win this on the queen side. How? Because the moment you start going towards the queen side, black king can come up to here, but cannot go beyond here. The moment white king goes here, black king cannot come to the d file or cannot come beyond the 5th rank. If he goes here, then what happens? Pawn push, and there is no way you can reach back the pawn, and the pawn is queening. So the black king can never really. So even here, the black king will be forced to go here, and then you go here. What will he do? He can only do here. You go here, right? So this is important. Now, actually here, what it means is that what black king plays here is immaterial because he cannot do anything beyond. He can just make some ridiculous moves, okay, but he cannot go anywhere. He cannot make anything of difference. So you can as well think that black is not making any move, and then how do you win it, right? Suppose if the black king is not going to make any moves, but he's going to be then off F6, then how will you win it? Then automatically, if you know that, then you will know that how to win here also, right? Because you know that if the black king is not moving, there is no way you can push the pawn, and there is nothing you can do here, but you know you can go here and kill the pawn, right? So that is what is the thing showing here. Okay, so this actually happened in a game, and initially, like someone said here, the white king tried to win it on the king side, but then figured out that there is nothing that is happening. In fact, see, like this happened: king F6 and king H8. Now if you push the pawn, it will become a stalemate because king will come to G8 and there is nothing. If you go to E7, then the black king will take the pawn, and then it will become a draw. If you try to protect the pawn, it will become a stalemate. So this is what would happen. But then white realized and then went to the other side. Then we went to E6, D6, C6, B5, and king takes A5, right? So this is what happened. So that is why this is important. Okay, let us look at one final example, one final beautiful example. And this I must put on the board. So it is B4, B3, A1, D4, and H7. Okay. Okay, let me put this on the board. You will realize how beautiful this is. Clear board. White pawn is on H7, one step away from queening. Black bishop is on A1, protecting the queening square. White bishop is on B4. White king is on B3, and black king is on D4. Okay, and analysis. Okay, now look at this and try to analyze. Try to analyze first in the normal chess itself, and then you will realize. If it is white to play, white is obviously winning. It is black to play. Assume it from the black's perspective. Okay. First, okay, let us put this in black's perspective first. I will change it.
Sir, I guess the bishop should go to the A1 bishop should go to H8.
Okay, very good, very good, very good. Why it should go? What happens if it goes to here? We should know. I think you have got a right move. The first right move is for black to play bishop to H8, and then he can draw.
Yeah.
Okay, then he can draw. Okay, but let us say if he just puts the bishop on F6. Okay, then what will white do?
Sir, he will. Sir, bishop to EA7.
No, bishop to E7. If you do, then he will just go to G7.
Sir, the white will move his king.
No. Okay, where white will move his king?
Moves king.
It's white to
So-
play. See, white's threat is not to move the king, but white's threat is bishop to a3 followed by b2. Okay, then he will want to exchange the bishops, and then the moment exchange the bishop, the pawn is going to queen, right? So that is the thing. So now if black had played bishop to f6, bishop a3, now white king starts rushing towards the pawn, but it does not help. Bishop to b2, okay, and then he plays this, and bishop takes f6, and no matter what you do now, even if you take it, the pawn is queenie. So that is the reason why bishop to f6 does not work first move. Neither g7 also, same thing. So but if
But
bishop,
sir, in that way, you still can play bishop to a4, a3, and then go to b2.
but check what happens if bishop is on h8. It is very different. Now, okay, try to follow the same strategy, bishop to a3. Fine, very good. I'm going to go near the pawn, and you try to say that, okay, you can no
Okay,
longer
sir.
control
So
the
even if you
Bishop
capture it,
blocks
your
the
pawn is still blocked.
blocked. Your pawn is still blocked. So you will kill the bishop for
So you have
free.
enough time to reach it.
I am reaching the pawn, and now no matter what you do, now the pawn is falling. And once the pawn falls, it's a draw. Right? It's a draw. Right?
Yes, sir.
So see, this is the technique. So that is why if you were, so the right move for the bishop here. So the position that is given actually is, yeah. So here it is already, we saw that if the bishop is on a1, then in our chess mazes it can easily be won. But if the bishop is on h8, the position cannot be won by white. I mean, not actually, it is not in chess mazes, it is actual chess. So I'm just trying to say it an actual chess because both sides are playing, right? But you know, this is important because you get this whole idea based on who is making a move or not, right? Now in this case, even if the bishop captures the black bishop on h8, black king is saying, okay, leave the bishop, I am just going near the pawn, and only he is continuing to make the move, right? So this way there are many applications why it is important. Okay, so this is just to give you all the background. So if you have any questions of what is a chess maze, we have already looked at many examples to see how they are done and how they are actually having application in actual chess games. They make an impact and they help you if you do that. If you have any questions, yeah.
Can you once more show the first one?
Not the first one. I will try to show actually the next one. If you have any exact, see, let us look at the next one here. Okay, number 7, and then let us try to solve it. Why? So I'll put this on the board and try to solve it. How much time do we have? Is it okay? 8 minutes are there. So
8 minutes.
so f3, c3, c6, f8, and bishop is on a6. Okay, I will have to put a king on the board just to make it a legal position. Otherwise, leeches will not allow me. So just for that, I will put the white king somewhere. But black knight is on c3, black king is on c6, black rook is on f8, white bishop is on a6, and I'm just going to put the king on, let us say, h1. Leave it. Okay. And so this is the position, and now you have to think white has to give a check to the king. So let us start thinking from where can white can give a check. He cannot give a check from b7 because king will take it, obviously. Whenever the big bishop will go to b7, king will take it. Now he cannot go to a8 because to go to a8, first of all, he has to come to b7. The moment he comes to b7, king will take it. So the check from that direction is already gone, right? Now, where can he give the check otherwise from? He cannot give it from b4.
G2.
So b4 and a3, b5 and a4 are controlled by the knight. Similarly, b5 or c5 anyway you can't give because it is a proximity check. You can't go by e4 also because the knight is controlling it. You can't go by f3 also because the rook is controlling it. So where can you give? You can only go to bishop to f1, and then you can move the bishop to g2.
Sir,
And that is
f1 is
available.
controlled by the rook, so it should be bishop to.
Ah, correct. Very nice. Very nice. I was just waiting for this. So you can't actually do bishop to f1. So what do you do? Because it is controlled by the rook.
Sir, it's
Bishop
F1
to c4.
Sir, it's F1 and actually if the black side rook comes to the F side F2 I mean F
No, if the not this one, if this bishop ever comes to f1, right, he will get killed by the rook.
yes, sir. So
Maybe
we
f3
have
also. So you can't come to things. So
Bishop
where do you
G3
go?
and
Either, I guess you have to go to either c4 or you have to go to
F.
d3.
yes, sir.
F4.
Yes, sir, C4.
Maybe I think c4
Yes,
followed
sir.
by e6,
Bishop to c4. Yeah.
c4, then e6,
Then h3,
then h3, and then g2.
g2.
yes, sir.
Correct? Bishop to
Yeah.
c4, then e6, because it is not
Yes, sir.
controlled by a thing anywhere
Then
else.
then it goes to H3.
Yeah. h3 and then goes to g2. Correct?
Yeah.
Fine. So I think, right. So I think you have solved it. All right. So very good. Very good. So these, so if you see here number 7, so bishop to d3.
40%.
Oh, but bishop to d3 takes an extra time. So correct solution is what you have found. Bishop to c4, bishop to e6, bishop to h3, bishop to g2. There is one more solution, but it is not correct because it takes 2 extra moves. Bishop to d3, followed by bishop to g6, followed by bishop to h5, followed by g4, then h3, and then g2. Obviously, it takes 6 moves, so it is not good, right? 4 moves is better. So what we found was better, is the right solution, which is given here in bold. Okay. So I think you got it. Okay, now is the real problem. This is the actual problem that you will be getting will be of the nature of number 8. Okay, I'm not going to solve it, but I'm just going to tell what is the problem, because there are so many black pieces and you have only one piece, bishop on c1, and you have to maneuver it so that it will never ever come into the attack of the thing, and then it will give a check. Again, I know that the bishop cannot give a check from b2 because the king is proximity. It has to give along the long diagonal. So it cannot give a check via c3 also, because c3 is controlled by the knight on a2. The knight on a2 stands on a light square, so you will never be killing that knight. See, apply the logic. You have a dark square bishop, which means you can only kill the pieces which are in the dark squares, like a7,
A3.
e5, and h8 rook. These are the only 4 pieces you can kill. You cannot kill anything which is on the light squares because black never moves. Now, if you cannot kill the light squared pieces, that means you cannot ever land on c3 because both the knights are controlling the c3 square. So you have to be able to kill the d4 pawn. But how do you kill the d4 pawn? You cannot approach it via c5 because the knight is controlling it. You cannot approach it via b6 right now because there is a pawn controlling it. At least till the pawn is gone, you can't do it. Okay, you can't approach it via e5, e5 because the rook is controlling it on light square. So you can never come to e5 or f6. You can come via g6. How do you come via g6? Then you have to trace back, right? So I'm not going to give the answer, but I'm just going to lay you. I hope you got the idea of what it is.
Yeah, I guess it will be of a start time will be bishop to a3.
A3.
Yeah, looks like that because anywhere else he's going to get killed,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
So a3 is the king,
Bishop
and
E7.
then where it should go to? Then probably it
Bishop
should go to
E7.
e7 after that.
Yeah, E7.
E7.
But after that, where does he go to?
From E7 he goes to no, sir, maybe he will. Sir, maybe he will go to D6.
d6 he will get killed by the knight on e4.
Oh, yeah, sir. I don't know.
Right? So it's not easy. So that's why I'm saying, see, initially till now I gave you was all the introduction, but now you will be getting these puzzles of this type, probably 2 or 3 puzzles every week. Okay. And you have to apply. Don't try to solve it right now. Try to solve it after the session. Okay.
Sir, I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. So bishop to a3, then it goes to e7, then to h4, then to
H4.
e1. Now it is
Then
1
to
square here.
then to e1, correct. Then to e1, then he kills the pawn on.
Then c7,
Then c7.
then
Yes, sir.
g1.
After
Sir,
c7,
sir.
then what?
Sir, first to C.
After c7, then h2.
Bishop h2, bishop
first-
g1, bishop takes d4.
But
Sir, first to
correct,
C3.
correct. Absolutely right.
Sir,
So a3, e7, h4, e1, a5, c7, h2, g1, and then take the pawn on d4, and finally it is check.
So, sir, or else we can do first it goes to C3.
Less than a minute.
Okay, less than a minute. So I think so. Okay, I will just join back in 2 minutes. Let's join back in 2 minutes in case you have any doubts. Okay, I'm done, but anyway you have doubts. So please join back the same Zoom in exactly 2 minutes. Okay, I'll open it. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay,
Sir.
please join back.